The Subcommittee on Joint Capital Outlay will come to order. Would the clerk please take attendance?
Chair Price.
Here.
Representative Steckel. Present. Brixey. Here. O'Neill. Corey. Wilson. Alexander. Here. Slaw. Steele. Here. Co-chair Senator Calvert. Here. Senator Irwin. McCann. McMorrow. Here. Camilleri. Here. Santana. Booth. Here. Halsted. Heisinger. Here. Madam Chair, you have a quorum.
Thank you. And thank you to everyone for joining us here today. I know some of us had a long morning on appropriations. We've got a lot going on, but this remains a top priority, making sure that we're here to go through the capital outlay process to make sure we're able to use this tool to invest in our institutions of higher ed. So thank you for being here. Senator Irwin moves to adopt the minutes from the April 26th meeting. Without objection, so ordered. The minutes are adopted. Oh, Irwin does it. Oh, sorry, Senator McCann. Senator McCann moves to, thank you, to adopt the minutes from the April 26th meeting. Without objection, so ordered. The minutes are adopted. We are also, let's see, Senator Steckloff is here, thank you, and moves to excuse absent members. Without objection, so ordered.
Take the paper.
And, okay. Minutes are adopted. We've excused absent members. So, our first presentation today, we will hear from Richard Biersbach, Dean of the Wayne State Law School. Welcome.
Thank you, Chair Price, and distinguished members of the committee. I want to thank you for the opportunity to testify on the Wayne State Law School complex submission. As Chair Price said, my name is Richard Biersbach. I'm the Dean of the Law School at Wayne State University. And before I testify, I want to thank this committee for bringing activity back to the Joint Capital Outlay Subcommittee by allowing institutions like ours to come here and testify and by evaluating and making recommendations on projects. I also want to apologize if I sound a little froggy because I have an 8-year-old daughter who gives me a lot of gifts, and she gave me her cold a couple of days ago, so that's my situation. Let me jump right in. We're really proud to be here. I think you all know about Wayne State. We're Michigan's only urban research university, and we take that mission and our mission to serve a diverse student body and community very seriously. And so here we've just got a few highlights. I'm proud that we're #1 in the state in social mobility. We're #6 in the country among all major research universities for social mobility. And at the law school, we take that mission seriously as well. The law school's a part of this, and this presentation is about investing in the school in a way that allows us to serve that mission. We believe deeply in these values: community enrichment, diversity, inclusion, and access, and workforce development, and we try to embrace them seriously in all of our programs. Just a few sort of statistics that kind of lay out how we try to do that. I want to point to the two on the rightmost part of the slide. We're really proud of those. We provide a great value for the students who come to the law school. By some measures, #4 among all public law schools in the country, #14 among all law schools. And most of our students, 80% of them, stay here in Michigan and work and contribute to the economy. And so when you think of a law school, you think of a law school doing that by producing lawyers. The thing we're really excited about, and something that I think makes this investment especially important, is we're doing some innovative things at the law school that almost no one else is doing, certainly no one else in the state, and very few law schools in the country. And so I want to spend some time on those because what we are doing is moving well beyond just educating lawyers into educating professionals who are trying to advance in the workforce, educating undergraduates, and really expanding not just the training available to people, but also the pipeline of people who can come and become lawyers or can address issues that are law adjacent to law. So I'm going to go through a few programs, but right here I want to show you we expect within the next 4 years to be serving about 1,500 students outside of our JD program. So about 1,500 undergraduate professional students in things that I said really no one else is doing in the state and very few people in the country. Here's one example. This is something we launched recently. It's a Master of Studies in Law. It's aimed at non-lawyers who work in certain heavily regulated areas. We launched one in the area of human resources. So professionals get these degrees. This is a big deal for workforce development. It helps employers get the kind of talented managers they need. It helps residents, graduates advance in their careers. You can see some statistics on this slide. This program's only a couple years old. It's already got 52 students. We expect to have a couple hundred within the next several years, and we're moving into areas like health law, compliance, things that are really in demand by employers in this region and in this state. The next one is something we're really excited about because it took off like wildfire, even more than we expected. We have an undergraduate minor in law where undergrads at Wayne State can actually get a minor in law, studying with our law professors, taking Socratic classes at the law school. It's a collaborative program with right now 4 other colleges at Wayne State University. This also contributes to the development of talent for the workforce because undergraduates are learning these kind of critical, analytical, critical thinking, communication skills that employers really value. And they're getting exposed to it without having to face the barriers they would otherwise have to face if they wanted to go to law school. We launched this 3 years ago. We thought we'd have about 100 students maybe by now. We have almost 400. We think we'll have probably 800 within the next several years. Almost one-fourth of them, over one-fourth of them I should say, are from underrepresented groups. And it's also having the effect that those students, if they decide they want to go to law school, get exposed to networks, the kind of training and opportunities that enable them to do that they otherwise wouldn't get if they had to sort of wait and make the leap to go to a 3-year law school at the cost of doing that. We've taken that program and turned it into an undergraduate law degree. We're going to be one of only 6 universities in the country that has this, and the only one in the Midwest. And this is exciting because this is going to help change the face of access to justice in the state. Just the same way, in the medical profession, not everybody has to be a doctor, not everybody has to be a lawyer. We have so many unmet needs in this, not just this region, but in this state when it comes to access to justice. And so this program aims to address that and to provide a more robust version of what the very successful minor in law program has done. It's got an enormous potential to contribute to the access to justice gap, but also to provide access and social mobility to traditionally underserved populations who, again, might not grow up with the networks or the opportunity to explore law school if they have to wait until after they get through their undergraduate degree. But here can do it in a much less fraught way, and there's enormous interest in this program. We just announced it a few weeks ago. We already have students transferring in from out of state to enroll in this program. So we're, as I said, very, very excited about these. They all advance not just legal education, but social justice, community engagement. A new facility is going to allow us to expand and grow them and change the future of legal education. It's also going to allow us to continue to serve the community in the way we currently do through our JD program. And so here we've given you some examples of clinics that provide very direct and needed service to communities in Southeast Michigan. You can see them there. I'm happy to answer questions about any of them in the Q&A. I want to note that what we envision is not just having these clinics, but having a complete social justice hub in this new building that builds on things like our Keith Center for Civil Rights, our Warrior Housing Corps, our Levin Center for Oversight and Democracy, our law library that actually is a very, very important resource for the public. It's open to members of the public. And all of those things come together and intersect in a space where we're not talking just about JD students, we're not talking just about undergrad students, we're not talking only about community service, we're talking about sort of mixing it all together and even going back as far into the pipeline as high school visits, having 8th graders come and learn about law and access to justice, having STEM days. And so we've given you some examples on this slide of some of the things we do along those lines, and we're going to leave you with some materials that get into that in more detail. I think the last thing I'll say is that our hope is that this investment will allow us to change the face of our legal landscape and our workforce by changing the people who can participate in it. By delivering more services. As I was saying, we expect 1,500 non-traditional law students within the next several years, and those projections are based on pretty good numbers given the recent rollout of our programs. And by giving us a physical space where this all can come together in a way that our current building does not. And I just want to say a couple words about our current building. It was built in 1966 for an enrollment of 350 students. That's about the size of our JD class. So we actually don't even have space for these new students right now. And I wish I could say that this is something we want, but it's actually something we desperately need. The current building is sort of falling apart. And there's a bullet on there about repeated and severe disruptions to student learning. That's real. 4 times this year, students have been displaced, once for almost 2 months, just because of problems with this building. So it is the hope that if the committee sees fit to invest in something like this, it's going to provide a new gateway for us to expand in these ways that we think are going to serve a lot of the goals that are important for higher education. So thank you for listening to this presentation, and I welcome questions from the committee.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Thank you so much for the information. A lot of great information and points. Can you talk a little bit about the Warrior Housing Corps? Just reading through that, this seems pretty important. So,
yeah, I really appreciate that question. Thank you, Representative. I'm happy to talk about the Warrior Housing Corps. What the Warrior Housing Corps is it started out as a small thing and then grew, but it started out in response to the Attorney General Merrick Garland's call during COVID for law schools to help with the eviction crisis. And so we had law students volunteering under the supervision of our internship and externship program, and we wound up partnering with community legal services organizations like Lakeshore Legal Aid, among others. There's several, where our students go down into 36th District Court in Detroit and help resident Detroiters who are facing eviction, which is absolutely critical because we know that your chances of staying in your home go up by 90%, right, if you're represented. And in most landlords are represented and most tenants aren't. And so this has been enormous because it provides talent through our JD students to the legal organizations that they otherwise wouldn't have. They help us supervise them and manage them. What's really exciting is the intersection of this with our new BA in law, because what we're now talking about, and this is in one of the bullets, is having a legal navigators program where undergraduates, in conjunction with our law students who are doing Warrior Housing Corps and the legal services organizations, will be legal navigators for tenants who are being pulled in to 36th District Court. Help them figure out how do they even get to the court, where are the papers they need, these sorts of things. California and New York have piloted programs like this, and they've made a massive difference. We know we have a huge population of undergrads who are interested in this kind of thing. We know they're interested in studying law as undergrads. We know they're interested in giving back. So we're just kind of putting all of this together, and we actually have active meetings going on right now with the legal services providers to get this program up and running now that we've launched the BA in law. But again, this is a good example. We have no place to house this. So that's what I can say about the Warrior Housing Corps. Yeah, ironically, right? We have no place to house this.
thank you. Great exhortation, and that's really, we talk about us, trying to eliminate barriers to a lot of different occupations, and this is really you building in sort of a mechanism to kind of keep that funnel going in terms of those students who are going into the field to always look back at those who were, you know, they were that person before, but now you have folks who are in the pipeline to say, oh, I see how that looks, I know who to, how I need to navigate with those individuals, and, you know, so I commend you for that. That was very interesting when I just read it. I said, that's really unique.
Thank you, and I appreciate that, because you're exactly right. A lot of people come to our law school because they want to serve, they believe in these things, and not everybody has to be a lawyer to do it. And that's why we're excited about, we'll never solve these problems if we say everybody has to go through law school. We can solve them by expanding the pool of people who can help, and you described it perfectly. That's how we're trying to do it.
Yes, Rep. Brixey.
And so the Levin Center would be in there as well?
Yeah, the Levin Center is a great success story. So the Levin Center currently is housed in the law school complex is a sort of a connected set of 3 buildings. It's housed not in the classroom building, but it is, even though its current space is relatively new in terms of we reconfigured some existing rooms, they are outgrowing their space quickly because they have been so successful. And some of the things they're doing include developing a civics education curriculum for the entire state of Michigan, right? And so they, with the support of a lot of foundations and the federal government and possibly the state government, they're expanding pretty quickly, and they also need more room for teaching space and for to place staff. We're going to be interacting with high school students, middle school students, things like that. So they'll be occupying that space as well.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much for coming in and presenting today, and for all that you do for the area and in the state and serving your students so well.
Thank you.
Grateful for you. Yes. Okay, our next presentation today, we have Domenico Grasso, Chancellor, and Carol Glick, Executive Director of Facilities at U of M Dearborn.
Good afternoon. I'm Domenico Grasso, and I'm the Chancellor of the University of Michigan Dearborn, and I'm accompanied by Carol Glick, Executive Director for Facilities. And I am here to ask you to consider an investment in the university, but also, and more importantly, an investment in the economy of the state of Michigan and in the future of the youth of Michigan as well. So for any of you who've been in the military, you may have heard the expression or the format called BLUF, which is bottom line up front. So this is the bottom line right here on one slide, and I'll go through it, but we're seeking $30 million, which will be matched by another $10 million in university funds to directly address state employment needs, especially in the area of computer science. There are, as we estimate, based on a quick internet search, 8,000 openings right now that are unfilled, and that's contextualized within 150,000 or so openings of tech jobs that all relate to computer science in one way or another. We are a highly ranked, practice-based university. Of course, many of our disciplines are practice-based, but we're taking that concept to the humanities and to the social sciences, so all of our students have practice-based exposure. We have an outstanding and accomplished faculty university-wide, but in particular in computer science, and our graduates are from Michigan. They typically reside in Michigan. We're the only fully commuter campus in the state of Michigan, and the majority, vast majority, over 90%, stay in the state of Michigan. As I said, we are Michigan's practice-based university. We instruct and expose our students to practice-based curriculum in all of our disciplines. We have 8,000 students. Over 60% of our students are majoring in STEM disciplines. This is very important. 60% are STEM majors. Our average incoming GPA is 3.7. We have very qualified students coming in, but they are non-traditional students. Almost half of our students are first-generation college students. 44% are Pell eligible, which is the lowest socioeconomic strata that attend college. 29% are students of color. And if you include North African and Middle Eastern as a demographic, which the federal government does not do yet, we're majority minority on our campus. We are rated 45th in the United States in a national poll on economic mobility, and the highest school in the state of Michigan for economic mobility. We have the third lowest average annual tuition in the state for publics and the fourth highest median annual earnings. Okay. We are requesting these resources, or asking you to invest in renovating and re-envisioning and expanding our computer science building. The building is 24,000 current square feet. We would like to add 10,000 square feet. As I mentioned, the project is a $40 million project, $30 million from the state, $10 million in university funds. The building right now is one of the oldest on campus. It was one of the original buildings built in 1959 and has never been renovated. So you can see it's built in the international style of architecture, which had a very brief moment in the sun in the 60s, and then nobody liked it anymore, and we still have it on campus. We've had massive growth in computer science, as many universities in the country, 150% growth in the last 10 years in our computer science majors. We have 1,100 students in computer and information science alone. It's very high demand because, of course, you read all the time about AI. It's on the front page of the New York Times almost daily. Cybersecurity is another important component, especially in the area of financial systems, and data analytics, which has been rebranded. It used to be called statistics, but now everybody calls it data analytics, and people are actually majoring in it. Now statistics couldn't get anybody to major in it. Our faculty is outstanding. Our faculty is outstanding in computer science. We have just recently, two NSF, National Science Foundation Career Award winners. These are the most prestigious awards given to junior faculty by the National Science Foundation. We have 22 awards in the last 5 years, and over $4 million in research just in computer science. So the faculty are outstanding. What our current building does not have, it doesn't have large research labs for data analytics. It doesn't have active learning for AI, cybersecurity, and data analytics, and it doesn't have flexible and reconfigurable space for meetings and presentations, which are all necessary for us to educate an even larger number of students that can go out and fill the jobs that are vacant. So now I think I will turn it over to Carol Glick, who is a chemical engineer and a PE, and she will give you the details of the project.
So I get to talk about all of the really fun things. So let me just start by saying, as you can imagine, a building of this vintage will suffer from numerous age-related issues. And despite our ongoing commitment to maintain this space, we have significant infrastructure issues. We have a 2019 facilities condition analysis that lists the building condition as poor with a facilities condition needs index of 0.48. This building carries a $4.2 million deferred maintenance backlog and a 10-year renewal cost of $5.3 million. All of these items will be addressed and eliminated with this renovation. So, in the current deferred maintenance backlog and capital renewal space, we have issues with accessibility, Most of our interior doors have knobs in their hardware. Our second floor restrooms are not ADA compliant. The stairs are deficient in terms of handrails and guardrails with respect to current standards. From a health and safety perspective, we are aware that beneath the vinyl floor tile, we have mastic that contains asbestos. A significant portion of our HVAC and plumbing systems do as well. On the fire and life safety side, we have a low parapet roof with no fall protection. We have an antiquated fire detection system that is both monitored and controlled by our original electromechanical panel that's in the basement, and there is no fire suppression system in this building. On the HVAC side, the distribution system, the control system, instrumentation, and the field panels are all outdated and require replacement, as does the HVAC equipment itself. Our electrical system includes copper conductors, plastic sheathing, metal conduit, original, outdated, and due for replacement, and we have no backup power supply in this building. Plumbing, of course, is in the same condition. Our elevator controls lack accessible features, and the elevator itself is at the end of its useful life and due for refurbishment or replacement. Again, our proposed renovation and expansion project will cover all of these items. So, in addition to resolving our infrastructure issues, these updates in this project will support the ever-evolving academic and research needs of our faculty as they prepare our students to meet our current and future engineering challenges. We'll add additional laboratories that meet our new demands for technology and computing, including teaching labs that accommodate these current pedagogies, a new edge computing lab, a digital forensics lab, a new software engineering lab, and an operating systems and networking lab. Additionally, we'll work on the network, the digital network in the building by increasing our wireless signal penetration, not too great in the current building, updating our fiber and network closets, upgrading the wired network, and just assuring that we have Wi-Fi that's suitable for our laboratory and classroom instruction. The university, of course, is committed to supporting our carbon neutrality goals of our entire enterprise. We incorporate LEED certification, construction and demolition waste tracking, sustainable design concepts into all of our major projects. So we expect that this renovation will, as I've indicated, as Chancellor Grasso has indicated, update our major building infrastructure, including state-of-the-art fire suppression and safety systems, ADA compliant and barrier-free classrooms and teaching and research spaces, compartmental power supplies for safety, access to power outlets for all formal and informal spaces. You might not think that would be an issue, but in the 1959 building, that proves to be the case. Telepresence conference rooms for industry and governmental partnerships, desirable presentation and student collaboration kinds of spaces, of course, storage and support spaces, welcoming aesthetics, and an updated facade and landscaping. So our goal is to assure that this completed building is a showcase for a CIS education, providing a hands-on, state-of-the-art educational experience for our students.
Do you want to move the slide? And so this is the last slide, and this is a summary slide. This is an investment in the state of Michigan because the state needs computer scientists, and I would have to say that we all need computer scientists that are ethically trained and aware of what is happening in society and in humanity. This plan, this proposal is consistent with our strategic plan that we took over almost 2 years to develop on campus. It was a collaborative effort across the entire campus, and we are one of the few universities in the United States that actually has KPIs, key performance indicators, that are quantitative that relate to the strategic plan. So we will know that we've achieved everything that's in our strategic plan. I'm very proud of that. It addresses state job needs. There are currently 8,000 openings that we've identified, probably more in the state of Michigan alone. We have accomplished and talented students coming in with high GPAs and highly regarded faculty. And I would just say that if our faculty could be this successful in this building, imagine how successful they will be in a beautiful new building after we have the resources to renovate it. And 94% of our students are from Michigan, and 91% remain in Michigan after they graduate. I'd be happy to answer any questions or entertain comments. Go Blue, go Dearborn.
Thank you very much. And we have time for one question. Senator McDonald-Rivet.
Okay, thanks so much for the presentation. I really, it's pretty clear that the current building isn't working. I wanted to just ask you, because there's one question, a two-pronged question related to enrollment, right? So I wonder if you can talk about the trajectory of your enrollment, where it's gone from the last 10 years, where you sit now, what you're projecting. I know that graduation rate isn't quite where we want it to be. I think that's true of most universities in the state. And so as we think about how do we hold enrollment and also think about the stickiness that keeps students there all the way to graduation in order to fill this gap, if you can talk about that a bit.
I would love to talk about that. Thank you for the question, Senator. So our first year enrollment, first year full-time students is actually going up this year. We have had a slight decrease in the number of total enrolled students, and that's because our students are graduating faster than they used to graduate. Our four-year graduation rate in the last 5 years has increased by 3%. Our top priority in our strategic plan is student success. We've invested a lot of resources and a lot of money in developing programs to support students after they get there to get them to completion. You're absolutely right. We're not where we want to be, but we're working towards that. And I also see that our attraction is starting to increase as well. We have a long way to go in getting our graduation rates to where we want, but we're taking the first steps in that direction.
Thank you very much for your presentation and for coming
Thank
in
you.
today. Next, we will hear from David Ford, Dean of the College of Science and Technology, and Dr. Tracy Galerowitz, Assistant Dean at Central Michigan University. Welcome.
Thank you. Chair Price, Senator McDonald-Rivet, honorable committee members, it is a great pleasure to be here today. Thank you very much for having us here. I am David Ford, Dean of the College of Science and Engineering at Central Michigan University, and I'm here with our Associate Dean for Academic Affairs and Student Success, Dr. Tracy Galerowitz. We're here to talk about the impact of capital investment to renovate Brooks Hall on our campus, but first I'd like to share a little bit of context about CMU and our College of Science and Engineering. So CMU is a regional public university that does have global reach, and we're a high research activity university by the Carnegie classification, so commonly known as R2 in the parlance of universities. Our campus is in Mount Pleasant in Isabella County in the heart of the Great Lakes Bay region. We do truly serve and impact the people of the state of Michigan. Over 90% of our on-campus undergraduates are from in-state, and a large majority, vast majority of our 145,000 plus alumni choose to stay in Michigan and live and work in the state. At CMU, it's a unique, not a unique arrangement, but a not quite so common arrangement where science and engineering are together in the same college. This opens up a lot of interesting opportunities, some of which we'll talk about a little bit today. Last academic year, our college, Science and Engineering, graduated 477 bachelor's students, 53 master's graduates, and 7 PhD students. In the most recent post-graduation employment survey, which we call First Destination. 89% of the responding students were employed or in graduate or professional school within 6 months after graduating, and the vast majority of those were in positions that were related to the major that they had pursued at CMU. So our students and alumni accomplish fantastic things, some of which you'll hear about shortly. Some of our newest degree programs include cybersecurity, data science, and also environmental engineering. And similar to stories that we've heard in the previous presentation, our fastest growing program is actually our master's program in computer science. That's growing the most quickly today. Getting back to Brooks Hall, which is a critical part of the CMU and CSE academic footprint, at 59 years old, it is a few years older than I am. Not too many more years older than I am. Like me, it has a sound structure. But unlike me, it has an interior layout that's really not suitable for the modern mission of STEM education and research. The classrooms are designed in the format to be the traditional sage on the stage format rather than the active learning and collaborative work that's more in line with modern thinking today. The laboratory spaces have been partitioned up into very small rooms that are not well connected, which again does not go along with the modern thinking about collaborative research, cross-disciplinary and interdisciplinary research. So combine that with the safety, and energy efficiency and accessibility issues, some of which we've heard about in previous presentations that are common to these older buildings. It's really in serious need of renovation. It's just, got good bones, but the interior isn't serving the purpose anymore. We are tremendously excited about the different programs and impact that a renovated Brooks Hall will have. In addition to the general improvement of the layout of the classrooms and the laboratories, there's several specific advantages that I'd like to highlight that would come from a renovation. The first is a new centralized student success center for the College of College of Science and Engineering, with academic advising, tutoring, success coaching, and career services all co-located in the same area. I think we've all had an experience on our academic journey of at some point hitting a brick wall. It may have been failing an exam. It may have been, in danger of failing a course. It may be even questioning whether the degree program that you've picked is the right one for you and how you want to go forward. So if you think back to that moment when you needed to reach out for help and the type of environment that you would benefit from and hopefully did benefit from in those times, it would be a place that was welcoming, where there were people present, but it was possible to have private conversations and confidential conversations about how things were going, and to have all of the needed services in one location rather than having to be referred to different locations around campus. So that's our goal with the Student Success Center, is to put things in a place where we're going to increase that retention, increase that stickiness by getting students the help that they need in a convenient and timely fashion. Also, it's going to be a space to house some innovative new programs that we're putting forward that are going to increase engagement, enrollment, and retention. We're particularly excited about a new program that we're calling Insight, Integration of Science, Technology, and Engineering, and I'm going to ask Dr. Galerowitz to talk a bit about that program.
So like Dean Ford said, Brooks Hall will be the home of Insight at CMU. And this is a program that brings students with different experiences and academic interests to solve real-world problems. And so these are our majors in College of Science and Engineering. It's a 4-year certificate that's added on top of their major, and it's open to all incoming and transfer students in College of Science and Engineering. And as the students progress through their classes in the certificate, they develop critical skills in collaboration, communication, data analysis, and project management, which are important transferable skills to all careers as they enter the workforce. During their final year at CMU, the students will complete a year-long team research project combining their science and engineering skills with those transferable skills. By having students collaborate in interdisciplinary teams, the Insight students quickly will learn the value of their expertise in different areas, as well as the passion that the students have for those different areas in science and engineering. In addition to collaboration and communication, which faculty identified as core values of this program, We also identified equity as a core value that we adhere to when we think about the program, including how we reach out to students. So we specifically have conversations with students that are often underrepresented in science and engineering. And our goal with the certificate is to remove those educational barriers so that all students see themselves as scientists and engineers. Even freshmen coming in, when we ask them, how do you see yourself? Are you thinking of yourself as a scientist? We want them to say yes, no matter what their experiences have been before coming to CMU. And the students that are enrolled in our pilot program truly represent the diversity of Michigan. And we've already seen in the short time that we've been with them in the pilot program that they've grown in their collaboration, communication, skills with one another, with faculty, and with experts that they reach out to for input with their research projects. A key component of the Insight program is that the program is truly student-driven. So the students decide the topics that they're going to research, what they want to follow through. They are finding solutions to the real-world problems that they know will be important to them as a student, but once they leave CMU. Rather than us faculty telling them, here's what we think the problem is. They have their experience and they're building on that. During our pilot Insight class this semester, the students decided as a class to first tackle issues related to green energy. And each team took this idea and ran with it. For example, students gathered data on how CMU could improve energy sustainability, the potential for solar energy farms in Isabella County, and energy efficiency needs for Brooks Hall. For their final project this semester, the teams could choose a research question of interest to them. So again, student-driven. For example, first-year students majoring in geography and biology modeled the potential for wolverine reintroduction into Michigan. Chemistry and engineering students measured the environmental impact of road salt on the Chippewa River and offered solutions to salt application. And one group of engineering and environmental science majors developed specific energy efficiency strategies for Brooks Hall and for the space that they would occupy. So they truly care about what's happening on campus and coming up with their own solutions, including a solar-powered phone charging station that they built for demonstration. And these are just freshmen that within a matter of half a semester put together these ideas, reached out to experts to gather data and their expertise to build up their questions. So we're very excited to see where this is going to go as they move through those senior projects. Brooks Hall is going to be the hub for all of College of Science and Engineering students. As the Insight program grows, we're going to need more collaborative space for these students to work on their projects. Students will be visiting the CSE Student Success Center that Dean Ford mentioned for advising, tutoring, career services, and then the students will be using the teaching and research spaces to grow as scientists and engineers.
Great. Thank you so much, Dr. Galarowitz. I'm just going to finish up by describing the impact on the research and outreach side, since we've covered a bit about the teaching side and education. There are going to be 6 programs that are housed in Brooks: environmental engineering, environmental science, meteorology, astronomy, geology, and neuroscience. The faculty in these programs collectively bring in multiple millions of dollars in federal funding every year for their research. Also housed in Brooks is going to be the headquarters of CMU's Institute for Great Lakes Research, which has been the focal point for more than $30 million in U.S. EPA federal funding for coastal wetlands research over the past 15 years. We're also very proud of our campus sustainability office, which we call Central Sustainability. This is a different model. As far as we know, it's unique among the universities in Michigan and possibly a good portion of the nation as well. It operates with student leadership, and the students are advised by faculty and staff, but the students run the office. It was founded by 2 students from our college, Teresa Homsey and Eric Urbaniak, back in 2020. And in just those short 3 years, they've accomplished amazing things, like a gold stars rating from the Association for Advancement of Sustainability in Higher Education, which puts us in the top 10% of 1,000 higher education institutions worldwide in terms of accomplishments and structural soundness of our sustainability programs. They've also got us to a point where we are diverting more than 300 tons of food waste every year from the landfill stream into composting activities and other more appropriate locations for that waste. The renovation is also going to enable a new space for industry-university partnership around Industry 4.0. Those of you, especially from the southeastern Michigan region, are going to be familiar with that Industry 4.0 term related to mobility and manufacturing. We want to build a hub for that type of activity that suits the industrial ecosystem in our particular location. And the main thing is, all of this helps CMU meet its commitment of engaging undergraduate students in meaningful research and authentic work experiences as they go through the program. This translates into the high success numbers in terms of job placement and success that I mentioned earlier. It also translates more recently into many national awards. So in the past 5 years, CSE has been home to 7 Goldwater Scholars, 1 Udall Scholar, and 1 Boren Scholar as well. So the renovation is going to be important to us, and it's going to help us scale up these types of activities that are providing these opportunities for our students. So with that, I'll conclude and thank you. I know you weigh many factors when you decide how to spend state money and invest it into these capital projects. I can tell you that an investment in this Brooks Hall renovation is going to make a huge difference to our campus and our students, and that's going to translate into productivity, better communities, better ecosystems and businesses directly from that investment. And with that, I'll just say thank you and fire up chips.
Thank you very much. Oh, Rep. Steele, we'll have time for one question. Thank you.
Just kind of to piggyback on Senator's question about enrollment, and Michigan's facing a flat population and somewhat declining enrollment within our schools. So I'm curious, are we looking towards beefing up the enrollment? And if that is, what is like an actual number? Or are we just trying to make our school so much better that we're going to nab it from other schools? So it's
Right. No, thanks. That's a fantastic question. So thank you. I think this, Representative, this is really, it's really an issue of providing the quality, I think, that the students of Michigan deserve. And I think this facility has really reached the point where it's not serving that need anymore. And so I would say this is really an issue of quality. Again, not so much to steal from, other institutions within the state, but to attract people from outside the state as well and bring them in for some of these innovative programs. I would just also say that a lot of the focus is going to be on retention. I think when we talked about the Student Success Center and Insight and how we're structuring those programs, we're focusing a lot on, hey, let's retain those that we have, and there's we can do better in those areas, and we can be productive in that way, sort of rather than fighting over things, taking the folks that we have and making them the most successful. So I feel like that's been our strategy in thinking about this particular project.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Our next presentation today will be, I think, mostly through Zoom. We have a Zoom presenter for this one. From Richard Kubek, President, and William Cordenbrock, Vice President of Government Relations for Michigan Technological University. So, yeah. Oh, there we go. And Zoom, if you try and speak, let me make sure that I can hear you, please, sir.
Good afternoon, Chair Price.
Yes, loud and clear. Go ahead. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Good afternoon, Chair Price, Vice Chair Stickloff, and Vice Chair Alexander, and our distinguished committee members. I'm Rick Kobek, President of Michigan Technological University, and thank you for the opportunity to talk with you today. About 5 years ago, and in light of the changing landscape in higher education, Michigan Tech underwent a strategic planning exercise that identified 9 areas of focus designed to position Michigan Tech as a national leader in the fourth industrial revolution. As a result, Michigan Tech led the way in the creation of the state's first College of Computing, established in 2019. This decision is the impetus for today's capital outlay request to support a new Center for Convergence and Innovation on Michigan Tech's campus. The new Center for Convergence and Innovation will house our STEM-focused College of Business, along with the state's first College of Computing, together in one building. There are 2 primary drivers for our request. that we will discuss with you in greater detail. First, the Center for Convergence and Innovation will accelerate Michigan Tech's effort to better meet Michigan's workforce demands and promote entrepreneurial innovation, particularly in the light of the rapid advances happening in the technology and business sectors. But second, and perhaps equally important, the demand for the degree programs and research opportunities at Michigan Tech are outpacing our current facilities. The future of technology requires us all to re-envision the roles of data, connectivity, centralization, and security. Already, as you've heard, artificial intelligence surrounds us, from self-driving cars and drones to virtual assistants and software that translates or invests. This digital transformation is forcing businesses and individuals to rapidly adopt and adapt to new technologies in order to remain competitive, maximize their productivity. So as markets and economies continue to respond to digitalization, there's an increase in need for digitally savvy and agile workers who are able to design and implement solutions in emerging problems. The center will position the state of Michigan as a national leader in the training and education of computing and business professionals that seamlessly integrate both domains while simultaneously serving as a model on preparing the modern workforce that's critical to Michigan's economic vitality. Future graduates in business or computing will not only have expertise in one domain, rather they will be distinctively prepared to bridge the two disciplines and contribute the types of innovations that industry will need to remain competitive throughout the 21st century. Now, our goal is to train graduates who are innovative, entrepreneurial, and equally comfortable working and leading in both business and technology. This is one reason why Michigan Tech is an enthusiastic partner in Governor Whitmer's Michigander EV Scholars Program, sponsored by the MEDC Talent Action Program, which is the largest ever campaign to promote careers and recruit talent to fill jobs in Michigan's surging electric vehicle and transportation mobility sector. The center will also support Michigan Tech's efforts to advance research related to digital transformation. By leveraging the intellectual capital of both the College of Computing and our College of Business, we will intentionally promote connections among faculty that will further research and creation of new knowledge. Just for reference, over the last 15 years, faculty-led research at Michigan Tech has generated over $671.7 million in external research expenditures, employed over 1,500 individuals, and has led to approximately $459 million of induced and indirect economic output. This is a total output of $1.13 billion. Now, the center will be positioned to help meet future workforce needs. According to the Michigan Bureau of Labor, the state expects a 7.5% increase in workforce demand for business and financial operations, computer and mathematical operations, and engineering, or roughly 11,000 new jobs over the next 7 years. In fact, at our fall 2022 career fair, a combined total of 50 companies recruited business and college and computing students respectively. Again, with the average starting salary for those students topping $75,000. Now, going hand in hand with employer demand, the university's last two incoming classes were our largest since 1984, and domestic applications for fall of 2023 are up 33% from last year, which is a new record. And based on current demand, we expect this enrollment to continue to grow for the next 10 to 12 years. The College of Computing has quickly become the fastest growing college at Michigan Tech and is poised to double in size by 2027. Demand for the business degree is also on the rise, and in fact, our current freshman class is anticipated to be 30% larger than last year's. Michigan Tech expects the center will be equally prolific in further increasing enrollment for the two colleges. Now, based on an intensive 2-year campus master plan process adopted by the Board of Trustees this past October, the Center for Convergence and Innovation was identified as a critical need and slated as the first new academic building for construction. Upon receiving construction authorization, the center is shovel-ready, utilizing existing space on our campus. The estimated $70 million center will include approximately 175,000 square feet of a new building construction, ideally mass timber facility, highlighting Michigan Tech's efforts to promote sustainability. The design of the building will intentionally promote connections among faculty and students across both colleges. Reconfigurable spaces and theme-based shared digital laboratories will be spread throughout. Additional features of this building will include convergence centers of excellence in the areas of fintech, cybersecurity, data science, business analytics, health informatics, tech-based entrepreneurship, coupled with flexible collaboration spaces, student learning centers, open access conference rooms, reconfigurable digital makerspace, and entrepreneurship training halls. Michigan Tech intends to fund the project above the required match at a level equal to 57% of the total project. The institutional match of $40,100,000 eclipses the amount requested from the state of $29,900,000, or 43% of the total project value. Outside of the identified project scope, Michigan Tech will continue to make investments in adjacent spaces to leverage the overall impact of this capital outlay project. So for Michigan, the Center for Convergence and Innovation represents an investment in our future that will transform education, research, K-12 outreach, and entrepreneurship to train the next generation of highly skilled workers. In the future, talent, as we know, more than capital, will represent the critical factor of production. This center will play a critical role in preparing the future workforce of Michigan that can work within a growing global economy. For Michigan students, the Center for Convergence and Innovation will fundamentally change the student experience by providing countless opportunities for learning across units and to promote engagement with other disciplines. For all of us, more than 130 years ago, Michigan Tech was established as a training ground for mining engineers with the founding legislation that called upon us to promote the welfare of the industries of the state. Over the decades, we've evolved to keep pace with the physical technologies in engineering, forestry, science, and scientific and technical communications, just to name a few. We've continued to expand our focus to examine not just the technologies themselves, but the impact they have on our society. Well, we've now entered the age of cyber technologies, and the proposed Center for Convergence and Innovation will play a critical role in bolstering the economic power of our state by developing a critical skills trained citizenry. As the state's flagship technological university, we look forward to the state's partnership in funding the physical aspect of this innovation in higher education. Thank you, Chair Price.
Thank you. And we'll take one question from Senator DeMoose.
Thank you. I just wanted you to back up because I'm not sure I heard you right. Everywhere we hear across the state, enrollment is down at almost every institution. Did you say that this enrollment at Michigan Tech is up? And is this sort of a project part of that? Can you explain that to me a little bit?
Yes, sir. We find ourselves in a position that our enrollment is up for the last 3 years. We've had our largest entering freshman classes probably since the mid-'80s. You know, since before COVID, the overall enrollment is up about 16%, and the demand continues to be strong, and we don't expect that to slow down. And so the building is necessary to help us accommodate that opportunity to educate these students in Michigan.
Thank you. And I'm going to continue to encourage all of my colleagues to send any additional questions to my office, and we will communicate with all the presenters if you have more questions you want to follow up. And all of the questions and answers will be shared with everyone from the committee. Thank you very much for making the time for this today. Thank you. Our next presentation, last one of the day, last but not least, of course, we'll hear from Jim Sawyer, President, and Don Hutchinson, Dean of Engineering and Advanced Technology at Macomb Community College. Welcome.
Well, good afternoon, Chair Price and committee members. It's a pleasure to be here with you today. My name is Jim Sawyer. I'm the president of Macomb Community College. I'm joined by my colleague, Don Hutchinson, who's the Dean of Engineering and Advanced Technology. He's going to share a little more specific information about our program. I'd also like to introduce two of our colleagues who joined us today, Nicole McKee, who's our Director of Institutional Relations, Government Affairs, and Bill Simonson, Executive Director of Facilities and Operations. They play critical roles in this project as well. We really appreciate the opportunity to provide an overview of our proposed capital outlay project, Macomb's Mobility and Sustainability Education Center. Just to give you a little context about Macomb Community College, we're a large comprehensive community college with 15,000 students, $143 million annual budget, got 200 different degree and certificate programs, and another 8,000 students take advantage of our short-term workforce training programs that are really designed to get students into high demand employment right away. We're also proud to be the largest grantor of associate's degrees in Michigan. We've got campuses located throughout Macomb County to ensure we're providing a service that we're accessible to all of our county residents. Macomb is fundamentally a partnership-oriented institution dedicated to collaboration to make the most of available resources, to avoid duplication and amplify impact. We work closely with the Macomb Area School District and the other K-12 schools in our county to help foster youth career possibilities and introduce them to different career paths and the education needed to embark upon those paths. The college's existing two-story, 74,900 square foot mobility and sustainability education center is undersized for the current student capacity and curricular demands. The scope of our capital outlay project includes renovation, demolition, and expansion, featuring a 71,000 square foot expansion to add state-of-the-art flexible lab and teaching environments. Next, Don's going to provide a little insight into our programs that will be part of this proposal.
Thank you, President Sawyer. The program housed within the Mobility and Sustainability Education Center include automotive technology, climate control, building performance and energy management, civil technology, construction, including licensed electrician and plumber training, architectural technology, and marine maintenance technology. These programs represent roughly half of the skilled trade programs at Macomb Community College. They also represent great opportunities for our community members to pursue well-compensated, in-demand fields that directly connect with the talent needs of business and industry for highly skilled employees. In southeastern Michigan, automotive technicians are among the highest in-demand jobs, with annual openings projected at 1,055 and an 8.4% growth rate. Others in the top 50 include climate control, plumber, pipe fitter, electricians. And between 2020 and 2030, the state of Michigan is projecting more than 34,700 average annual openings across the construction trades. At a time when other areas of the college are experiencing challenges with declining enrollment, these programs have remained steady, and in some cases, such as electrical and plumbing, we're adding classes and faculty to address growing demand. All of these fields, and by extension the programs that prepare individuals for these fields, are experiencing rapid change, with new and increased requirements related to regulation, electrification, and computerization, as well as collaboration between different traditionally separate fields. While Macomb has done a great job of keeping the programs from a curriculum and equipment perspective, the 1980s facility they are currently housed in does not provide the infrastructure or the health and safety features required for the future. The Building Performance and Energy Management Program is growing to meet the need for green and carbon neutral building design and controls management. Expansion of the climate control program will include a new high-tech controls lab for commercial spaces and connected smart homes. We recognize the importance of incorporating energy-efficient systems into our building projects to reduce environmental impact. This project, with its curriculum in climate control and sustainable energy management technologies, is particularly ideal for both incorporating and highlighting these performance features. The college will seek opportunities to integrate sustainable design features throughout the design of this renovation and expansion. Selections will be made that offer the most value while providing real-life training opportunities for the curriculum. The renovation will also allow us to expand our marine maintenance technician program, which was developed in collaboration with the American Boat and Yacht Council, the Michigan Boating Industries Association, and local mariners. It was initially only offered at Macomb. To help tackle the severe shortage of these technicians throughout Michigan, Macomb now partners with other community colleges throughout the state. Students take the theory didactic portion at their home school and attend Macomb Community College to complete the hands-on portion of their training. The renovation will boost Macomb's efforts to purposefully and effectively address current and future talent development needs for Michigan's construction, manufacturing, energy, and boating industries. We are directly linked to industry through employer advisory boards who help keep Macomb pace with fast-moving changes and inform our education and training programs. Jim is going to talk specifically about the rapidly evolving mobility industry and how it connects with our project.
The renovation and expansion of Macomb's Mobility and Sustainability Education Center is not just a transformative project for the college and our students. It is also an integral piece of a larger puzzle for sustaining Michigan's, and in particular Southeast Michigan region's, preeminence in the mobility sector. The state of Michigan has committed the resources to develop a vision for our future through the Michigan Office of Future Mobility and Electrification. In mapping out a comprehensive strategy, the Michigan Future Mobility Plan identifies as the first pillar to transition and grow our mobility industry and workforce. Macomb Community College has long been a pivotal partner in developing talent for our area's automotive and automotive-related employers, such as product designers, highly skilled machinists, and technicians. The world-renowned General Motors Technical Center is located 4 miles from our south campus, and both Ford and Stellantis have multiple manufacturing facilities in the region, along with hundreds of Tier 2, 3 suppliers. Our plans for the Macomb's Mobility and Sustainability Education Center allow us to offer a much larger electric vehicle and hybrid electric vehicle focused automotive program, leading and accelerating change for electrification in the automotive industry. As early as 2006, the college was actively engaged in the emerging mobility sector, establishing the Center for Alternative Fuels as early steps to electrification were being taken. Today, the Macomb Regional Center for Advanced Automotive Technology, a National Science Foundation Center of Excellence, is a vital aspect of the college's strategy to address industry needs, bringing experts to the table to develop curriculum to meet the future need of the mobility industry. Macomb remains fundamentally engaged in fostering the partnerships with all key partners, including serving on the board of the Michigan Alliance for Greater Mobility Advancement and the Michigan Intelligence Network, Workforce Intelligence Network, 2 of the state's partners in the EV Jobs Academy, as well as membership in Mich Auto, the state's only automotive and mobility cluster association. The renovated and expanded Mobility and Sustainability Education Center will meet the needs of our current and future programs, larger capacity for data infrastructure, greater electrical loads, and more classroom and lab space. However, support for the center is not only an investment in great jobs with great futures for our community members and the region's employers, it's also an investment in Michigan's signature industry. The estimated cost of the project is just under $59 million. Due to the significant impact this project will have on the college's programs, the college is committed to providing 55% of the funding for the project, making the state's portion less than 45%. We will use the college's capital outlay funds and potentially private donations, and there will be no impact on student tuition as a result of this project. The Macomb Community College mission is to transform lives and communities through education, enrichment, and economic development. I hope this overview of our Mobility and Sustainability Education Center has demonstrated our commitment not only to our mission, but to collaboration, partnership, and a vision that drives opportunities and economic prosperity for our region and our state. Don and I would be happy to answer any questions that you may have. Thank you again for the opportunity to provide testimony today.
Thank you. Thank you very much for presenting. I do have one question. You talk a little bit about the partnership and collaboration with the industry. Will this facility be open in any way to the public or to industry to interact with students? Is that an element of this project?
Absolutely. In fact, we're very engaged with the industry right now through the EV Jobs Academy. We're overseeing the curriculum piece for that. And they have a great impact on what we do, the curriculum that we design, and we're working very closely with them right now with respect to our for-credit programs and our non-credit programs. So we expect that this will be a great benefit to the public for sure.
Thank you. Thank you very much for your time. Okay. I just, again, want to thank everyone for being here late on a Wednesday. And we are beginning to get near the end of this portion of receiving testimony for our joint capital outlay projects for this cycle, for this year. So I am going to, again, plead to members of the committee, if you have questions, feedback, thoughts on any of the projects that we've seen so far, please don't hesitate to reach out. Email my office, connect with me on the floor. I'm just in the process of gathering as much information as I can, and grateful for all of your thoughts, priorities, and questions that come up. That being said, there being no further business, the committee will stand adjourned.